Peekaboo. Good morning and welcome to Defense Tires. I'm your host, Bob Mata, and this is our continuing coverage of the LISK slash Gilgo Beach slash Rex Heuermann case. So we've got a presser coming on today. Dizzy and I. Dizzy, first of all, you're amazing. Thank you for getting that done with the verdict Friday night for the trial that we all watched together, which was a fulfilling conclusion to that trial. We all felt that we really needed her to get convicted because she's one of the worst. She is one of the worst. So that was the right result. I'm sure we all feel that way. And thank you, Dizzy, for getting that done. I had little to no notice, very little notice. I think Brandy hit me up that the jury was coming back. First, it sounded like there was a question, but the question is something relating, do we have to fill out both verdict slips if we have a verdict on one of them? And we knew from the closings that if they found her guilty of the second-degree murder, they did not need to fill out the slip for accessory, because you can't be an accessory to your own crime. So, yep, that was great. Dizzy, of course, crushed it. That was so clutch. I was at Goose. Getting down, so I couldn't hear. I didn't have the satisfaction of hearing the words guilty, guilty, but I saw it in the chat. I felt it through y'all, so that was great. Oh, what's up? Christopher Duet's in the house. What up? Good to see you, homie. Good to see you. All right, so Dizzy, I've got an eye on CBS New York news, and I also have the one that the later one that you sent me. Diz seems to be LA. So I don't know. I don't know. Feel like keep an eye on the LA one, Diz. I'm gonna keep an eye on the New York one. It's always nerve-wracking to do pressers because sometimes they can be difficult to find, and then we're panicking, trying to figure it out. Thank you, Dizzy. Um, so, but this is a big press conference. Apparently, what's going to be taking place today, if you're familiar with the horrific case of Rex Heuermann, he is the suspected LISK slash Gilgo Beach killer. He's now currently been charged with 6 homicides. And what we're going with today in terms of this press conference, it appears that we are going to see Ray Tierney officially release a rendering of what they believe that 2011 Gilgo Beach victim, who they refer to as Asian Doe, very well may have looked like. And I think that that is as a result of the fact that they have had no luck with DNA, uh, which I'm assuming would include IgG. So I think that it's probably the lack of Asian DNA in U.S. databases, DNA databases, that has kind of stonewalled them there. So the hope is that they're going to come out, release this rendering of what they believe the Asian Doe victim may have looked like, in the hopes that somebody out there somewhere will recognize the picture and come forward so that they can get a positive ID at some point down the road. If they can get somebody to say, "Yeah, I knew them," then they can start that leg of the investigation. So I think that's the hope. I imagine that we'll also get some more updates because that is very, very much an active investigation. And, I mean, they've come forward, law enforcement, with kind of this concept, which seems uh, very likely and very terrifying, that Heuermann's probably been active for 20 plus years. And if you think about that, it's pretty scary. It's pretty scary stuff. I'm just very appreciative that law enforcement's doing their job and continuing to investigate everything potentially. Um, I mean, this is a huge, huge undertaking, huge, because it could span all over the country in terms of where this guy was doing damage. So, uh, I'm anxious to see if they've got anything else coming. I mean, typically we hear through leaks if there's new indictments coming down. I don't anticipate that's going on today. Usually people get excited about indictments and word slips typically. So yeah, I agree. I agree, Sinead. I mean, dude could have been active for 40 years for all we know, you know, starting at 20. I don't know. I don't know. It's chilling to think about it though. It really is. Um, in other news, as you guys know, I leave for London on Thursday evening. We arrive Friday morning. Allie and I are heading to CrimeCon UK. We're bringing our two of our daughters, Scarlett and the Scoutster and Cam. So we're all very excited about that. The end result of that, though, this fabulous trip, is that it happened to land right during Grandma Gotti in her trial for her part in the death of Dan Markel. So jury selection actually starts tomorrow. And if all goes as planned, they will be giving opening statements on Friday. Friday. So, uh, yeah, I've seen this. I've seen the post with the images. I've seen the post with the images of the Asian doe. I want to see what they have to say, though. Back it up with some words. And so, yeah, I don't. We're discussing between Dizzy, Mandy, and I if there's a way that we can cover Adelson. It seems like it'll be unfulfilling just to stream it. So I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna try to figure out. Maybe we do it though. Maybe we do it. Um, as much as Allison doesn't want me to, I'm definitely gonna do a couple lives from London, but not like they're not gonna be work lives. I'm gonna go live a couple few times, probably once from the con, I'm going to ask them if Allison can try to stream my panel with Chris Hansen. I don't know what their position is going to be. They should allow me to stream it to our channel. That would be cool. That would be cool. But I'm not going to hold my breath. All right, so we're at 9 o'clock on the nose. Let me pull this thing up. We're getting a weather alert. Let's see.
Better candidates for some.
This is breaking news.
Happening right now, Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney is holding a press conference of the Gilgo Beach Murders Task Force are about to reveal new information about a male victim. Accused serial killer Rex Heuermann has already been charged with 6 Gilgo Beach murders. He has pleaded not guilty. We bring you now to the Suffolk County District Attorney.
As others, and just as importantly, we need to provide answers to the families of murder victims. So today we're asking for the public's help in identifying an individual who has been known as Asian Doe. They were found on Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach in 2011. And despite our best efforts, this person still remains nameless. And by nameless, I mean to us, to members of the task force. This person certainly had a life and loved ones and friends who knew them by their name. And it's important that this victim get their name back. And just as importantly, the people who cared for this individual get answers. So we are hopeful that with this new information and the community's assistance, we will be able to identify Asian Doe and bring a resolution to the case. Before I get into the meat of the press conference, I just want to thank the task force members who are here. Obviously, my team, Chief Investigator Rich Zacharis, and our ADAs and investigators and analysts. We have NCMEC, which is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I want to thank them for their assistance. They're not present at the press conference, but as you'll see, they were integral in with their assistance in this case. In this instance, we also have our partners from the Suffolk County PD, Commissioner Rob Waring. Actually, Rob Waring's to my left. He's sneaky. Chief of Detectives Daryl Simmons, as well as Deputy Inspector Sean Barron and their team of investigators. We have the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office. We have the New York State Police, led by Lieutenant St. Drew, and you're going to hear from Lieutenant St. Drew in a moment. We also have the FBI and their team. We thank them for their assistance. We have Senior Supervising Resident Agent Don Osbacher and some investigators on the Gilgo Task Force. We thank them for their assistance and for their presence. The Secret Service, we want to thank them for their help. They're not present at this press conference, but they've been helping with the electronic evidence. We also have received, in this instance, assistance from the New York City Police Department, who are not here. But again, we want to help. Thank the NYPD for helping us gain access to the significant Asian population in the city. Now, before I get into that new information, I just wanted to discuss with you all where you can find the visuals that have been provided to my left. The new information and visuals provided here today will be provided to the press. They will be posted on NCMEC's website and their Help ID Me Facebook page. And again, this is a place where members of the public can go and look at pictures and information concerning missing victims of crime and provide law enforcement with information. There's also a VICAP public webpage and law enforcement repository. VICAP is the Violent Criminal Apprehension Bureau, and that is run by the FBI. And so you could go on their website, provide information, learn information. And of course, it is available right now on my website, the district attorney's website, as well as our social media. And this information includes updated forensic reconstruction images of Asian doe, which were provided by NCMEC, descriptions of the clothing of the victim, which he was wearing at the time of death, a picture of the various clothing labels of the clothes that were worn, new genealogical data, as well as information as to the victim's age, height, and gender identity information. Now, with regard to the initial investigation in this case, the remains of Asian doe were discovered on April 4th, 2011. They were found, the skeletal remains were found on Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach in New York, I believe found in between just closest to Megan Waterman. The initial examination revealed the following. The victim was a biological male of Asian descent. The victim was between the ages of 17 and 23. So there he was a teenager or very young adult when the murder occurred. And he was about 5'6" tall, give or take a couple of inches either way. Unfortunately, this victim suffered a violent death. The cause of death was homicide by blunt force trauma. We know the death occurred during or prior to 2006, and that those remains were on Ocean Beach for at least 5 years before being discovered in 2011. So the actual murder occurred based on the forensic examination of the remains in 2006 or earlier. Some of this information is being released for the first time, specifically the descriptions of the clothes that Asian doe was wearing at the time of death, and that although Asian doe was a biological male, Asian doe was wearing exclusively women's clothing. He was wearing a Chrysanthemum brand blue-ribbed short sleeve shirt with a crew neck, size large. He was wearing a Raffaella brand shirt, size 10, and he was wearing a pair of women's pants and a bra, both by the brand Bill Blass. And with regard to the forensic reconstruction images, the task force was able to work with National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, and a forensic artist examined the victim's skull to create the facial reconstructions that you see here. And those reconstructions depict what the victim may have looked like prior to their disappearance and murder. We have two pictures of a person with short hair, one head on and one in the profile, and we have a third picture of an individual with long hair. Because the victim was wearing exclusively women's clothing at the time of death, it is possible that they identified as a woman or were known by others as being a woman. The Gilgo Beach Task Force also utilized genetic genealogy to learn more about this victim's specific ethnicity. It was previously known that this victim was of Asian descent. However, now we know that it is a strong likelihood that the victim is of Southern Chinese descent, Han Chinese descent. And Han Chinese is one of the 56 officially recognized ethnicities in the People's Republic of China. This is a significant development because unfortunately, South Asia is underrepresented in our genealogy databases, meaning there are not a lot of Asian profiles in the database. Therefore, investigative genetic genealogy in this instance is a challenge. It's a challenge to identify this victim, and so far it has proved to be difficult and has provided few leads. Hence, the purpose for us being here today. We're looking for the media's assistance, and we're looking for the public's assistance in helping us provide information on this victim to get this victim's name back. And I'll just come over. These are pictures of the individual. We have a picture of Asian doe.
You can't hear Ray. Go back to the mic, Ray.
Now, With regard to outreach to the community, again, we've leaned on all our partners as we always do, but particularly in this instance, the New York City Police Department and the state troopers. We've asked for the NYPD's assistance in translating this flyer into Mandarin, into Cantonese, into Thai, and into Bahasa, which is an Indonesian language. And the NYPD will further assist in distributing flyers on the ground in the Asian communities across New York City. And again, as we know, there's a significant Asian population in New York City, so we thank them for their help. We've invited several Asian media outlets to be present here in the hopes that they can reach the Asian community directly and provide this information to those communities. Regarding our goals for doing this, this is a call to action. We want to enlist the public's help in trying to identify Asian doe. With regard to the translations, we hope that the public and the Asian media outlets will further assist us in translating and disseminating this information into additional Asian dialects, which will further aid in the process of identification. Again, this person had a name, this person had family, this person had friends. We're reaching out to anyone who might have known this individual to help us with that identification. Again, I would just add with regard to DNA databases, those who would like to help identify Asian doe or any other victim or missing persons in the Asian or any other community to help, you can upload your DNA to Family Tree DNA and into GEDmatch Pro and opt into law enforcement matching. Contrary to popular opinion, law enforcement doesn't have access to all DNA databases. And this identification, this IgG technology that we use, as you can see, we don't just utilize it to identify suspects. We also use it to identify victims and to provide closure to the families of missing victims. If you really want to help, please consider uploading your DNA profile into those 2 commercial databases, which allow law enforcement to access that information, but only with the consent of the consumer. Now, third, we ask that if you were around in the late 90s and early 2000s, think about the people you associated with. Think about the people you know. Did anyone of Asian descent go missing? We believe Asian doe may have been working as a sex worker around the time of their disappearance prior to 2006. We believe that they spent some time in New York City prior to their death. And we want to urge the public, don't discount someone just because you know them to be from somewhere outside of New York City. As we know, people often come to New York City for a myriad of reasons. Prior to 2006, this person had friends, possible classmates, or coworkers, and a family. Someone knows who this individual is, and we need that person or persons to contact us. So that's what we're asking. Again, with the help of the media, let's get these photos out, let's get this information out, and let's identify Asian doe. Crime Stoppers is offering a $2,500 reward for information leading to the identification of Asian doe. Anyone with information regarding this case or the identification of the victim is asked to contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-220-TIPS, T-I-P-S, or via email or the mobile app on the flyer. You can do so in your native language. Translation services are available. So if you have difficulty with the English language, but you have information, provide it to us in your native language, and we will translate it. Again, please share this information far and wide, and let's help get this victim identified and give this victim their name back. Prior to taking questions, I'm going to turn it over to the New York State Police. We have, as I've said, we've had Lieutenant Richard St. Preux, and he is going to introduce the Mandarin translator. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Lieutenant Richard St. Preux with the New York State Police. I cover the Bureau of Criminal Investigation. I'm introducing Trooper Shin Sung Lee who will be translating into Mandarin.
大家早上好。今天吉尔格海滩凶杀专案组请求广大群众的帮助，来辨认一具发现于2011年11月，2011年4月4日发现的受害人遗体。受害人为亚裔男性，有可能来自于中国南方，有可能为汉族。警方认为受害人的受害时间大约在2006年或者之前。该名受害人怀疑被钝器暴力击打致死。遇害时的年龄大约在17岁到23岁之间。遗体被发现时有穿着女性服装。我们呼吁广大的华人群众能够帮助警方一起辨认这名照片中的受害人，以及受害人身上的衣物残留。如果在您认识的人当中有2006年或者之前的失联人员，并且与照片上的受害人样貌相似，或者是服装相同的话，请务必与苏福克郡警察局联系。我们有提供中文服务。受害人遇害时还只是青少年，在这里我们呼吁广大的华人群众能够积极的在亲友和社区之中传播我们所提供的信息，以便我们可以早日确认这位受害人的身份信息，给受害人一个公道。谢谢大家。
Thank you, Lieutenant, and thank you, Trooper Lee. With that, I'll open it up to questions. Does anybody have any questions? So, we have a bail document which details some of the internet searches done by the defendant, and some did contain searches using similar terms that you just described. Anything else? So yeah, it's a violent death, blunt force trauma, which led to the individual's death. So this was a violent assault resulting in the defendant's death. No, we don't have anyone there, but basically what it is the forensic anthropologists, forensic artists, they start at the skull, and then using the characteristics of the skull, they essentially create, and using their training, of course, they create the diagram of the individual. So we believe this is the most accurate possible depiction of the victim. That was the language that the trooper, Cantonese? I'm sorry, Mandarin. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think you never say never. We've seen the way that the DNA technology has evolved. So we do have DNA, and so we're working with it. I'll get you in a second. It's not unheard of, especially when you're talking about a crime of this nature, and when you're talking about a community that's an immigrant community that tends to be insular. So again, we think a lot of times, and again, this person we believe was brought from outside the jurisdiction into the jurisdiction. So when you combine all those things, it's not that unusual. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we send out the information far and wide, not just to Suffolk County, not just to New York, but across the country and across the world. Yeah, I'm sorry, Greg. So, so if you look at, where it was situated, I think it was about 300 or so feet from Megan Waterman in that same stretch of Parkway. So it's between Megan Waterman and Jessica Taylor. And, as we've said all along, each one of these, these victims, it's a separate crime scene. Start from that separate crime scene and you work your way up, which we're doing. And, it's all nice to speculate, but it basically doesn't matter until you can bring charges. And we're certainly not at that stage. Well, I think probably what you're referencing is specifically with regard to the Gilgo 4. Those were uniquely, they were almost identical, and they're, unique from the other bodies. There's always evidence at the scene, and we're analyzing that evidence, and if it bears fruit and results in charges, we'll talk about it at that time. I'm not entirely certain. I know specifically that this victim was clad in the clothes that we've described. I don't know what that means. We start from our victim. We start from our crime scene. We work our way out, and we don't talk about it until we're able to charge someone. There's always physical evidence. And, you work through the physical evidence, you utilize the various modalities. Those modalities are changing, evolving. So it's a continuing process. And until that process is complete, you don't discuss it. So we're not at that stage where we're prepared to discuss it, but there's always a myriad of physical evidence at any scene. It's just whether or not it's relevant or not, or it's able to be tested. Yes. He was not wrapped in burlap. Nope. Well, I would just ask that you look at the bail document, because we have a number of searches with regard to searches that could arguably be related to this victim, as well as the Gilgo Beach investigation and the discovery of bodies on Gilgo in general. Sure. Well, that's it's the public, and some, I think when you talk about, immigrant communities from outside of Suffolk County and a body found inside Suffolk County in general, you wouldn't be all that surprised in having difficulty to identify this particular victim. And then, there are all those other factors as well. So, not completely unsurprising that we've not been able to identify the victim. But the most important thing is that we identify that victim regardless of the outcome of any, criminal case, just to provide that victim and their family with, give the victim his or her name back, and provide the family with closure. It's based upon our investigation, which I'm not going to get into. Yeah, these were done through NCMEC, and that was a fairly involved process. We really appreciate their assistance. Obviously, it's a painstaking process, and it took some time. So, once we had the information available, and also the DNA, the specific genealogy DNA, we wanted to provide it to the public. because we think it'll help the investigation and help to identify this individual. Okay. Thank you all so much. Thanks for coming.
This has been breaking.
All right, there we go. A little strange that they didn't have the rendering like visible to us during the entire presser. It's a little strange, considering all the streaming that's going on with it. Seems like that was a lost opportunity to get it out there. I mean, it seems like we kind of have to search for it. I mean, I've seen it on Twitter. Right. Exactly, Deja. But why not have it up? All right, that's what I'm gonna do. Let me see. My boy Steve from Trace Evidence Podcast, which if you guys have never listened to, fix your life. Go listen to it immediately. It's phenomenal. Said I look tired. I feel like after watching that Bears game last night that I've been beaten about the face and head for days. Like that was a brutal game to watch. Just watching our young quarterback just get pummeled all night was really, really, really hard to watch. That game felt like it lasted 15 hours. It was something else. Oh man, it was brutal. All right, let me see. I want to try to pull up the who's got a link out there to where they have the where they've got the rendering. Let's see if Tierney has it up. He's got the press conference. Of course, he doesn't have, like, Tierney doesn't even have it up on his thing. Let's see if they've got it on their website. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, the Texans are one hell of a football team. Like they are, I think they're in play. I think they'll give Mahomes all that he can handle. All right, let's see. All right, perfect. Okay, let's go here. Okay, thank you very much. Let's see. HBSV's mom just fired it over to me, so I'm going to pull it up so we can get a look. See what we're looking at here. Okay. Let me share those. I mean, you never know. You never know who's going to pop on a live, right? I mean, that's kind of the whole point. So I think it's helpful. These are pretty good renderings. So these are facial reconstructions that were created by a forensic artist with NCMEC and depict what they think that the victim may have looked like, both in male form and female form, I guess, with the hair. So they're guessing approximately 5'3" to 5'9". Biological male, likely Southern China, 17 to 23 years old. See, they don't even know when this victim really went missing. I've read accounts that at least 5 years, it could be 10. I mean, it could be more. And then they list the clothing. So yeah, those are, I mean, somebody's got to recognize that person, right? Those are renderings have come a long, long way. A long, long way. So hopefully, as Chris Duet was saying, and I concur, like them with the outreach to the Asian community in New York City is a brilliant move. I mean, it's super close knit and it's massive. I mean, it really only takes one person, one call, you know? I mean, that's the thing, Sharon. I mean, in today's day and age with the internet, anybody can see anything. So hopefully this will get really disseminated out there on a massive scale, because I think somebody knows somebody knows this person. There's no question. We're not so remote in time that it's going to be uh like a real shot in the dark. I think that we're close enough in time, even if it's 15 or 20 years. This person's bound to have people that are still alive and well. And like everybody has people. Everybody has people. That's the thing, is that everybody has people. It's like every time I see the Gilgo / LISK task force do things, it just makes me more disgusted by what's going on with the Gacy thing. I mean, there's unbelievably 40, damn near 45 years after Gacy was active, there's still 5 unidentified victims in that case. It's crazy to me. They're just so inactive. They just don't care. It's like I'm constantly at war with the Cook County Sheriff's Department and Jason Moran, who's supposed to be heading that. It's like I have a guy that, like, one of our longtime listeners, Brian Rausch, like, we're convinced that a distant relative, not even that distant, cousin of somebody that we believe very well could be a Gacy victim, is willing to give DNA. I went, like, they did a rendering of one of the unknown victims, and then we pulled up a picture of this family member, and it's like unbelievably stunning, like how close they are in resembling each other, like the jawline, like everything. It's like it was I don't know. That's part of what Bill and I are still trying to do with that too, along with finding the additional victims. We're still trying to, like, really get the identified. It's with the technology we have these days, it's like it's too much. It's too much. All right. Okay, so we didn't really get any other updates. Yeah, there was DNA, but unfortunately, obviously, they have the DNA of the victim because they found the victim. Unfortunately, the database does not contain a match, and thus far, IgG has not been of any assistance as well. So, yeah, and I think that anybody knows about IgG. I don't think Ray has a real grasp on the fact that I think we all know. I think that the primary use right now of IgG is to identify victims, or Jane or John Doe's cold cases where they've been unidentified. I mean, that's the main thing. Um, oh, Benefield's on at 1:30. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe that's a good idea. What do you guys think? Should I cover Benefield today? I got to write Garcia before I leave. I got to write and record a Garcia episode before I go. What's up, ATS? Good to see you. Heuermann brings out all the big guns. ATS, Chris, Steve. Yeah, it's that kind of case. It's I mean, this case, when it's all said and done, is going to blow minds. Is absolutely going to blow minds. It's like in a not in a good way, just in like in the worst way possible. Yeah, I see you guys talking about the Bears. Don't get me back on that. No, they're a hell of a team. The Texans are a good team. Like we gave them all they could handle. And that's with our young quarterback has no offensive line, just getting murdered back there. Like we're close. Next season, if I'd be stunned if Poles doesn't spend all his money. But whatever, I'm not gonna start talking about the Bears. If you get me on the Bears, it's on the Bears. All right, so yeah, that's what we'll do. Spitfire is at 1:30. I'm assuming that's Eastern since I was a Florida case, so that would be 12:30 my time. Yeah, he's definitely. All right, so yeah, I'll pull up. I'll have Dizzy figure out what the motion is. I have a feeling it's a motion to reconsider of some kind. I mean, it's that next step. It's the next step that you have to take in order to file your direct appeal. Oh, see, Dizzy knows. Dizzy's so far ahead of the game. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. How about Dizzy Friday, y'all? Like doing I don't even know what time in the morning it was for Dizzy. 'Cause she's in an undisclosed location somewhere across the pond. And like I was at the show. What time did that go down, Diz? Like that verdict came down like 8. It had to have been like the crack of dawn, like in the early morning hours. Dizzy's just amazing. I always am happy when I don't hear from Dizzy over the weekend because I know that she's sleeping, or I'm hoping that she's sleeping. So, like from Friday until this morning, I didn't hear from Dizzy, and I didn't want to bother her either. So I didn't last night. I was like, let's try to figure out some things to do this week, but I refused to. I wanted her resting. She needs her rest. She's a very, very, very busy woman who does so much, which, by the way, again, I like to state it every live. The best Discord channel server out there is Seeking Justice. Throw the link up there. Diz, Tracy and Dizzy, two of our fabulous, amazing mods, have put together. In true crime, there's not a better Discord server out there, period. End of conversation. That's anything you could possibly want. They take care of us, all the fam. So whether it's Jay or Steve and Dan or me, or someday hopefully Joe comes back, or if it's criminality with Teresa, or if it's Josh with Courtroom Confidential, all of our homies, they have it where as soon as a live gets scheduled, Seeking Justice sends out a blast. Like I always get them. I always get notifications. It's the and beyond like just notifying of lives, like the amount of documentation from all the cases that we're following on there it's unparalleled. It really is. They just do. It's an amazing thing. It's Raul. Oh, what's up, Raul? Good to see you, homie. Been missing you, man. Been missing you. So what do you think, Raul? Big move there. We Duet and I love the yeah, Raul, you want to jump on, man? Want to talk? Want to chat? See what's up? Like I thought Chris and I thought that the fact that they really made the outreach to the Asian community was huge. I think it's huge. All right, hold on. I'm gonna send Raul a link real quick. Mm. No, I'm not off. I'm on. Hey, Raul, I know I've sent you an email before, but give me like the beginning of your email if you don't want to post the whole thing in here. I'm not pulling it up on my Mac. Or maybe one of the girls has it. Oh. Perfect. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's weird. Didn't pop up. All right. Incoming. All right. All right, Raul, you should have that momentarily. I have a lot of contacts. That's for sure. Yeah, no, I think it's an amazing thing that they did today. I think that we should get some pretty quick feedback, hopefully. That's the hope. All right. So, okay, I'm gonna text Mandy to create a Benefield. I'll tell her quickie nail. Mandy put together this morning's nail with the quickness. It was trace evidence is amazing. I wish those guys were going to London. Like we hang out with Steve and Alicia whenever we're in Crime Con. I love them. Super sweet, genuine people. And I mean, trace evidence is just a great pod. I'm still like shocked. I've got to start hounding Steve about doing a collab with them. Like, I can't believe we haven't done a collab. I've been slacking on collabs, so I've been so busy with everything else that I have done. I can't think of the last collab I did. When I was first in the podcast game, I was doing collabs all the time. I had to get back to doing those. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it, Liz. It's like the that's how I get very, very anxious leading up to trial or traveling, like with the podcast. It's like I feel like I have so much stuff to do that it just really makes me anxious. So I try to get everything done so I could try to go have a wonderful time. I'm really looking forward to this trip. I was going through. You're good. Oh, you didn't get the link yet? Let me double check. Let me make sure. Pretty sure. Well, I'm gonna send it one more time. Raul, send it. Uno más. Knowing me, I made a typo. Oh, yeah, see, right there on that one, I made a team. That's why my email works like snail mail. People are like, yeah. I'm like, I sent you an email, man. Did you get it? No. Oh, yeah, I had a typo. Yeah, but no, I get very anxious leaving, especially for like this duration, full week. Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, I was whispering because Allie was in the room. I'm going to like we'll go live, but it'll be not necessarily true crime. So we had a debate last night while we were eating whether or not we should do the Jack the Ripper tour. His Scout's going to be with us, and she's 12. I was of the mindset that we should. Allison was like, "What? No." She's like, "We're gonna go on a serial killer tour with our 12-year-old." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah. I think it'll historically be super interesting. It's not like his ghost is going to be chasing us around, right? I think it's just like historically. I'm really looking forward to the trip. There he is. What's up, man?
What's going on? Can you hear me good?
I can hear you like $1,000,000, bro.
I'm trying to get that beard like yours. I'm gonna fail though. I'm gonna
Oh,
fail.
no, man. It looks like $1,000,000. It looks like $1,000,000. So what's popping?
Nothing much. Exciting day today in LISK world.
Yes.
Starting off with the Newsday article with John Bitroff, followed by the upgraded pictures and images and information for Asian Doe. So hopefully someone knows something somewhere, and they're not intimidated, that they're not inhibited, and they go out and share any piece of information is vital, and could be, it's almost cliche that, people like us say, like, anything helps. So any type of information could be what breaks a case wide open. So it's critically important.
100%, man. And it's like I've been going through it with the Gacy victims, and they still have, like I was saying, they have 5 unidentified there still 40 plus years after the fact. And I'm like, it just blows me away because that somebody knows these people. Everyone has people.
Yeah.
Everyone has people, no matter what may have been going on in your life, and if there was a disconnect with your people, it doesn't matter. You're always still going to know somebody. Somebody's always going to know you. And like with the Gacy thing, man, it's like, because you wonder if people weren't reported, right, missing. Like that's always the first thing that kind of pops in your head. Like did like no one report this person missing? Like they're not in NamUs, because geographically you work, as I mean, you've got the map, man. So it's like, you work kind of inwards and then move outwards in concentric circles geographically. But, I always would wonder that. I'm like, man, because it was like the thing with Gacy, it was like, I think it was just misinformation and just ignorance, like back when it was going on in the 70s. They're like, oh, people aren't reporting their kids missing because they're gay. I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, no.
And it was even compounded because once law enforcement hears like sex worker or drug addicted, their attention span just evaporates.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a shame. And I mean, so with my map, I've been working on Texas, but I had to stop for almost a week because Chicago put out almost 200 unidentified persons from 1991 through 2002, I think. Man. So like getting those, you're talking 30, 40 years of just nothing happening. And there are images on there, like people could have been, brought home or given their name back. And it's just a shame how the system put in front of itself so many roadblocks. and those roadblocks became a crutch to not do anything.
Yep.
And it's very disheartening for me to see 30, 40-year-old cases show up on NamUs, especially in such a large volume. Where was that information? Was it in a box? Was it in some retired detective's garage?
Yep.
Why wasn't it given to NamUs? At least, NamUs has been around 15 years. I mean, it could have been done already. It should have been done already. So, we have to standardize the process of getting unidentified into the database, and we have to hold agencies accountable for failure to do so, whether that is withholding federal money for something random like their highways or something. Whatever it takes, it has to get done. We cannot rely on somebody like Othram or Parabon or even the FBI to have the bandwidth and the processes in place to rectify this. So, we have to light a match under somebody's ass.
Yeah, I agree. Because like to me, like Othram and Parabon are like they're the next step. You know what I mean? They're like they're the step that like they come later. They're not the front end. They're not the one that's getting names out there and getting the missing people out onto NamUs. Like that's not their thing, man. I mean, like they're kind of after the fact. That's not to say if obviously they've done amazing work with some cold cases wherein they were provided with DNA samples and they were able to build it out from there. But in terms of what we're talking about, yeah, no, that's not their role in this puzzle. That's down the road. They're hopefully the ones that are getting us the positive identification.
Yeah,
they're not the front enders. So yeah, it's a mystery, and it's like in terms of that information, like where did it go? I mean, the amount of kids that went missing in in the 70s and 80s in Chicago is like a breathtakingly horrifying number.
It's frightening. It's frightening. I mean, adding people to the map, I always denote infants, but the and children, and that's what really gets me, because somebody's missing their kid. Like you see 15 to 20, somebody's missing their teenager. Somebody's life is missing a elemental part of their story. And there's just not enough people screaming it out. I mean, for me, I think, when Todd Matthews passed away, a significant void has vanished from this world. And, it's going to take many people to fill even half of what Todd left on the table with his passing. So, I don't know where my advocacy is taking me. The map is just, predicating every moment of my life. But, I am certainly not Todd Matthews, and I don't have the resources, but I think collectively, so many of us can achieve that status and that effectiveness. And, we have to care about the unidentified. Like, we have to, because if we care about the unidentified, then we care about missing people, and then we care about solving crimes. It's all part and parcel. And
100%.
We just have to find some overwhelming motivator to make this happen. Like Gabby Petito was such, a pivotal moment in missing persons cases, domestic violence cases, and her parents, they're doing incredible work, making sure that they use their platform and expanding it to everyone else, people of color, misrepresented, unrepresented. A lot of my map lately has also been for indigenous. So like there are so many opportunities to enhance our processes and resolve all of this. So I think today's presser on Asian Doe, although I'm disappointed, I was really hoping they had his identity already. But when it comes to Asian Doe and they intimated New York City, one of when Maureen Brainerd Barnes went missing, one of the last pings on her phone was at 59th Street, right at the bridge. Now, on 59th, between 3rd and 2nd, and then on 1st to whatever the waterfront is, there are two gentleman clubs. One's called the Townhouse. It was referenced in the Richard Rogers Serial Killer in New York City, and also in the Stroll. These clubs catered to sex work. Further down underneath the 59th Street Bridge is a club called the Star Sapphire, which catered to Asian preferences. So I don't work that far from there, and I can guarantee you over the weekend there's going to be a whole shitload of flyers posted on their doorsteps, because that's what advocacy is. It's sharing a post, or it's putting flyers out there, and you just never know what might happen.
You never know. I mean, it's like, I was like, my only criticism of the presser this morning was that they didn't have the image of the rendering like kind of blown up on a huge board behind him, like through the entire presser. It's like, that was a little strange, but other than that, like the outreach to just a massive Asian community in New York, I think is a brilliant move. And it's a close-knit community as well.
Yeah, and they're culturally insular, like Tierney had said, and much like the indigenous, unique tribes, their cultural restrictions are varied also. So and there's a lot of, I don't know if I can find the right word. I don't want to say pride or I don't know. I'm not even going to attempt to search for the right word, but when it comes to marginalized homosexuality among some of these communities, it's really, really frowned upon and embarrassing to the family and the legacy. And they'd rather just forget, in cases, they'd rather just forget about this person because they came out perhaps and they were an embarrassment to the family and they were shamed by it. So these are some of the internal roadblocks that we have to get past in order to find out what happened, regardless if a parent is ashamed of their child's sexual orientation or identification. If your child has been missing for any number of minutes, let alone decades, at some point you gotta pick up your pants and move forward and try to figure it out. That's still your child. I mean, that's how I think about it. It's still my child.
Well, that's what I was saying about the Gacy stuff, man. It's like that mentality was so ingrained. Like when I was like interviewing all the old cops, and they were very forthright, about that mentality that existed in that time. And, like initially one of Gacy's victims happened to be the son of a homicide detective in Chicago who tried to bury it at first. And I think that somebody finally went to him because of the concept that his son may have been gay. And like people were like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, you got all the resources. Like, so it turned out that out of all the victims, at the end of the day, they did the most thorough investigation into that particular victim, but it took time, because of that just warped mentality. It's like you almost hope, especially because what you're saying in terms of certain communities, it's so frowned upon, just like it's seen as an embarrassment if their kid's gay. And you just kind of hope that maybe there's siblings that are not of the same mindset, that have moved on past these archaic thought processes that have plagued this this planet forever, based on bullshit. You know what I mean? Based on nothing other than bullshit.
So and I mean, and it's hard to you don't want to judge them because that's their beliefs, that's their culture, and that's their norms. But like you said, a sibling, a cousin, somebody who had a closer relationship, you know, someone's got to break that barrier a little bit. And, you know, we got to, as a society, I don't even, maybe we're a little bit better at acceptance, but, you know, for every 2 steps forward, there's always 1 step back.
Right.
And you know, it's prevalent in everyday society, regardless of the topic, you know, from politics to sex work, to drug addiction, substance abuse. We have to get over ourselves.
For real.
And there's a higher goal, like there's a more important goal. And you know, it's bringing your loved one home, giving them back their name, and holding somebody accountable if they were taken from this world through violence.
Yeah, man, like that kind of that thought resonates with me. It's like talking about just collectively, and there's never going to be a collective thought process on anything because we're all individuals. We all have different belief systems. We all are taught. And like look, I mean, the reality is that none of this is innate in terms of how we think about things. Like if you are not born a racist, you were not born an ist of any kind. You are taught that by the people that surround you. And you know, and it's a snail's pace in terms of, you know, the way that we educate people to kind of, and look, like you said, like I'm not casting shade, but like much of it is just born out of ignorance, and or just people really not knowing those who they judge.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's like you're upset about concepts, you're upset about shit that's none of your business. And you know, for me, it's just one of those things. And it changes, like you said, it's a snail's pace. Like with all of it, I wish that the way that we treated each other as human beings would change at the pace that technology advances. You know, instead of it taking 40, 50, 100, 200, 400 years for people to open their eyes and their minds and be like, all right, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just, you know, I'm a sociology major, man. So it's like I've been digging into the macro level of just society and how bizarre and fascinating and sad and
frustrating, because
frustrating,
you know,
man. It's unbelievable. So yeah, it was a big day. What do you have going on, man? Like what's new with the map? What do you
the map?
And dude, like all of us tell you, never underestimate and undersell the contribution that you make, dude. It's like the amount of time, energy, love, sweat, blood, tears that you put into this thing.
It's literally all of that. You know, at so many points in time, I love that map and I hate it at the same time. You know, it's given me joy in a way because it's officially solved or been a part of 4 solved cases.
Amazing, man.
There were 2 cases still under significant investigation. And the potential for the map is so far reaching. And you know, when I realized that, that was a commitment I couldn't ignore anymore. Yeah. So right now I'm more than halfway through Texas. I should finish Texas in a week or so. I'll be in Texas in a week or so. So I wanted to get it done for that. Then all I have left is California, which has right now about 3,000 unidentified. So once my goal is to get California done. I'm going to sort of slow it down a bit, but get California done by the end of the year so that I could start off next year adding all the states' missing persons on there. And then, you know, what really separates my map from other incredible maps is that mine is the only one that's chronological. Right. So you can start off with a baseline missing person date and then scroll up and then find matches because the map is visual. It highlights when you scroll over one of the icons. Yes. So if you're looking for you know, I don't know, a 15-year-old, you're going to look for a light pink heart. And, you know, if it's in the same general area, you can quickly build a list of possibles where law enforcement's just basically waiting on the data scheduling to hit. This could supersede that in minutes. And I have, in fact. So I've given several different law enforcement agencies a dozen at a time of possibles to compare with, or above the NamUs process. So and I see that they're doing it because the people that I'm watching that I've given to them, I see modifications on NamUs. So I know it's being proactive. And if it comes to nothing, okay,
Right.
but at least those avenues have been investigated.
Exactly.
So, you know, in a way, so many of these detectives that I've spoken to, you know, thank me immensely. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you know, give me anything
Look,
else.
man, like
build a list.
there's only one way I describe you, and that's the truth. You're
Yeah.
the truth, dude. Like, you're out there just, you know, doing
Yeah, I mean, I you know, I get out there when my ire is up. Otherwise I you know, my head is down and I'm working hard at that map. Like the map is fundamentally a part of who I am now. And
100%. Yeah.
you know, I'm blessed in a way to have the time and the resources to do it. Interested parties seeking information from it. And it, in tandem with all the other, you know, databases, whatever I've put out there, it works for me. So if it's only beneficial to me, then it's my life. So I'll do it.
100%,
But,
man.
you know, if it helps in any way, which it has, then, you know, I accept that. And, you know, I'll probably live to 100 and die face planting into my laptop with a heart attack. I mean, if that's the case, then so be it. I'm ready to accept that.
When you know, when in this life, when you develop a passion project that becomes just the, you know, part of the fabric, the fiber of your being, man, that's it. But you know what? It's like, it's that thing where, you know, you kind of lay there in bed and you're like, man, it's your legacy, dude. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, the map is going to be around long after you and I are not walking the earth.
I know.
You know,
and I've given the password and credentials to only 2 people in case in case aliens come and swipe me away to outer space.
Right.
You know, at least somebody can do something with it. So, or not. I mean, it is what it is.
It's amazing, man. You know, I love you. I adore you. You're like I said, you're the truth, man. You know, you've always got space in my house, man. You know,
No,
what
I
I
love you
mean?
too, man. I appreciate
anytime you need
Yeah.
a voice or somebody that has your back unequivocally, I'm your dude, man. So
yeah, I've learned to give zero oxygen to where it's not deserved.
I know it's hard. It's hard. You know,
It is hard.
I take a lot of shit too, man. You know, and it's like, it's unwarranted because I know what, like, you and I are bringing to the table. You know, I try to educate people. I advocate for different things along with my advocacy for victims. That, like, I advocate in a lot of different ways. I mean,
Yeah.
attorneys are advocates, like, quite literally.
Yeah.
That's literally what we do for a living. You know, but in terms of like your work and like when I just see people, that's it, but it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to not give that oxygen because you sit there and it's like forever. I just wasn't blocking people on Twitter, you know, and like
I had to eventually.
I know. I think I'm there. It's like,
and I started sleeping better through the night once I did.
I know, man. It's like I took it as like a thing of pride that I could talk anything out.
Yeah.
But the problem is that people don't want to talk. You know,
No,
they
well,
just want to talk shit. And
by
like,
wanting to talk it out, you're assuming they have the same intellectuality.
right.
And you can't expect that. And I I mean, I've spent years defending victims and families, and I can't defend myself. You know why? Because it's pointless.
Right.
I can refute everything, and where does it go? It just feeds them more fire. So
Yeah,
fuck
it's
it.
true. And look, exactly, fuck them. Because you know, the one thing that both of us have going for us is that our work speaks for itself. You know, it's
Yeah.
like I say that I stand behind everything that I put out in the public, every word that I've ever said. There's nothing that, you know, it's just, it's how I am, man, you know, and it's like, I don't skulk around in the shadows talking shit about people. You know, if I talk shit about people privately, that's my business. Things that I put out in the public, if I've got something to say, I just say it, you know,
Absolutely.
and I'll always give somebody a platform. But like you said, that kind of that intellectuality aspect of it is, you know, that's therein lies the rub, you know, because it's like I've like there's certain cases that I cover that just, you know, you have all types out there that are in the true crime world, and it's just one of those things where you'll never be able to change somebody's mentality. It doesn't matter what
Right.
you say, you
And you
know.
can't. Why invest the energy into it? Like,
That's so true.
and part of my internal therapy is a side document where I do exactly that, but it'll go nowhere. I'll never share. I'll never post it because, again, what's the point? You know,
Exactly.
if you tell the world you have definitive proof that Oswald killed Kennedy, the conspiracies are never going to go away. So it doesn't matter. Like, none of
So
it
true.
matters, you know.
So true. It's
So
so true.
there's no point in investing that time. And I use that time to keep blasting through the map and you know, advocating for the people and families that I do advocate for, or learning about cases that are intriguing to me, and just doing my thing. I stay in my lane. You know, when I have to go outside the lane, then, you know, I'll take acceptable shit thrown back at me. I get that.
Right.
You know, I'm putting myself out there, but at the end of the day, um, I'm on the right side of this shit.
Right, that's
So,
like that's the thing, man. It's like, and I am too, in terms of like, you know, especially when I'm trying to advocate from like the legal side of it, in terms of
yeah,
our constitutional rights in this country and that they actually matter.
right.
You know, it's like I think people misconstrue what I do and what my message is in terms of me, you know, like out here, you know, saying guilty people are innocent and shit. Like, that's not my game, man.
Yeah.
That's not what it's like. That's why I'm saying I can always I can always make out what, you know, my message is by my actual um what my actual message is by my
Yeah.
content. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. And I've
So,
stayed doing what I've always been doing. And in doing so, I've found even more strength in that. You know, stay true to what I do. You know, I honor victims, I honor legacies, I, you know, present facts, and I can speak to them, you know, ad nauseum instantly. And, you know, that's that. So, you know, at some point you have to have like duck feathers. It's all got to be brushed off, and it's not significant. It bothers me personally, but at the end of the day, who fucking cares? I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm moving forward. It's as
right.
simple as that. And
Yeah.
that's all that any of us can do. You know,
Right.
it's all that any of us can do. So now I'm gonna take all this Asian dough information, and I'm gonna go out there and put, you know, my feet on the pavement and go down to these two clubs this weekend and, you know, pass out this information, and every little bit helps.
You're
You know,
amazing.
that's all
I
that
love you,
can be
man.
done. So I love you too, and I thank you for the opportunity to jump on.
Of course, man. You always got a home here, man.
Yeah.
Always, 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 always. So,
I
all right,
appreciate that.
you're amazing. Go do the good work, man, like you
Yeah, man.
always do. And ciao.
All right, everybody. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, y'all. So Raul's amazing, just amazing guy. So, all right, like I love him. All right, so I'll schedule the Benefield. I think it's probably in 2.5 hours. So we'll cover that hearing. And I'll probably start it a little bit early, kind of go through what we can expect in that hearing. So turn your notifications on if you're interested in watching Benefield and see what's going on with that. And then big day here with more LISK info, more Gilgo info. Hopefully this will end up getting some results. You know, because it's like somebody brought up the question earlier in the chat, like, you know, why won't these guys, because they seem to be so narcissistic in terms of, you know, wanting to be well known, you know, but like, why don't they just give up the intel? Like, why, like, you know, and it's like, you just find that that's not the case with many of these guys, most of them, like, they just won't give up the info. So hopefully we're going to have to do it because they won't do it, you know, so spread the word, get the word out there, do good. And thank you guys. Thank you to Steve at Trace Evidence Pod. Thank you to Chris, Pokemon. Thank you for being a ride or die. Forrest, thank you for your generosity. I appreciate y'all so much. Thanks for jumping on once again, short notice. And we'll see you guys in a couple hours. Without you, I'm just an old man talking about a bunch of old cases. Take care. And new.